Everybody, welcome to the QCast. Wild episode 10. Coming at your faces today, we got special guest Nancy Aguilera on. I don't know if I pronounced her last name right, but it was a good try. So today, like I mentioned, we got Nancy Aguilera. It's about time. It's about time we get this woman on here. You guys are in for an insane show. So let's start off. So first off, use code QCast, QCAST, all caps, at Juggernaut Energy for 10% off your order. Can't talk enough about Juggernaut Energy. They get me going in the morning. Again, use QCast, QCAST, all caps, 10% off your order at juggernautenergy.com. Also, the QCast is also partnered with Trade House LLC. So I guess let's get into things, huh? Let's get into things. Guys, girls, everyone, how is it going? How is it going? Nancy, you can unmute your mic.
Fantastic. I'm feeling some good energy right about now. I'm just flowing. I'm ready for this. I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the 25 viewers we got tonight. I'm ready for the value. I'm ready for this. I'm excited to talk to you, Nancy. Get to hear a little bit into who you are, how you became the person that you are today. I feel good.
After that call we just had, I'm lit.
Yeah.
I mean, that mindset call was lit.
That was
but
nice.
Yeah, I mean, how's everything going on your end?
I'm going good. I'm doing well. Nancy. Oh, wait, shit. Nancy, we can't hear you. Can you guys hear her? Can you guys hear her at all?
I can't hear you now.
Okay. Is your mic working, Nancy? What's up? Oh, technical difficulties, I guess. But yeah, I guess. I mean, it feels like I haven't seen your guys' faces in a while, and that's on me. That's completely on me. But yeah, I feel like I had a pretty decent day. The week was kind of subpar, but today kind of brought it back up.
All right, guys, can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I love technology. I do. I really do. But I'm super excited to be here, everyone. Thanks for having me. I love this group of people, always energetic, always flowing. So I appreciate it.
Hey, that's what we're about. You know us. That's what we're about.
I'm just stoked to have you on. I mean, you did a mindset call on the 7 spiritual laws of success and blew my freaking mind. And, it's like knowing you for the amount of time that I have, it's just like every single time you speak, it's always just knowledge and value. And so I'm just super, super grateful that you're on this call. And, we get to pick your brain and see what you're all about. So,
I appreciate that.
Kind of what I want to start off by asking, like, what made you Nancy Aguilera? Like, what made you into the, beautiful soul that you are now? Like, what triggered that?
You're too kind. Honestly, adversity. I think everyone would have like the same answer to that. You only grow through pain. And I know that Mike Miles speaks on that a lot because it's really true. It's like going to the gym. You only grow if you're pushing your muscles to their furthest extent. But yeah, life, man, it's fun. It's fun, especially when you don't know what's going to happen next. You just kind of winging it.
Oh, that's cool. The universe is always full of surprises. Life is always full of surprises. But so you grew up in Chicago, right? Did you go to the same school as Mike and Tim and them?
Absolutely not. I grew up on the southwest side of Chicago. So not the best neighborhood. So I was actually born in Cook County, which doesn't exist anymore, probably for the better. Little village area, super, super, that's the area that you see on the news all the time. It's super, it doesn't have the best highlighting. In fact, like you just hear bad things, unfortunate things happening all the time, which is why my parents kind of took the family, moved us 7 minutes less to this suburb called Cicero, which is literally just crossing over a bridge. You cross that bridge and you're back in Chicago. But they really did their best to get us out of that neighborhood, considering that we were only like relying on one source of income, which was my dad's. Like that was the official source of income. My mom had like her side hustle. But they did their best, honestly. Like they put us all, I have 2 sisters. They put us all through Catholic school from like pre-K to high school graduation, and then obviously college, but that was state school.
Oh, wow.
To answer your question, southwest side of Chicago.
Crazy. Oh my gosh.
So Oh, I don't know if Hunter was gonna ask that.
Oh, no, go for it.
So like you mentioned like the struggle and like your parents really working for you guys and kind of and trying to get you guys out of that neighborhood. What was like your whole, like, what was it all about? Granted, we're all from Marshfield, so pretty much our childhood was a very simple aspect of life. I mean, we're pretty blessed to be able to come from that. I mean, I guess we've never really experienced the come up as a child, I guess. So could you elaborate on that whole aspect of everything like that?
Sure. I mean, I was blessed. Like, my parents did bust their asses. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here, but they did work a lot in order to get us out of there, like I said. So I didn't get to see too much of it. Fortunately for me, I'm the youngest of three, right? However, my sisters actually ended up going to school there for a couple of years before they were able to get us out of there. And I don't want to keep highlighting these like unfortunate events that keep happening in Chicago, but it's a lot of gang related stuff. So which is why my whole upbringing, that was kind of the norm. Like, people were just in that. And it was all just like, oh, who do you represent? It was kind of a fad, or not even a fad. It was just like the thing back then. Like, what colors are you repping? Which streets do you hang out? Who do you hang out with? Stuff like that. And I grew up with that until, pretty much junior year of high school, when I came to the realization that that's not who I want to be. That's really silly, just like fighting and killing over turf and territory and stuff like that. Like just creating wars out of hate that don't really need to happen at all whatsoever. And then it's just like, that's still a thing, by the way. Like, Mike and I were literally in an Uber a couple weeks back when we were back in Chicago, and there was a 14-year-old in this Uber who didn't even have his own phone, so someone had to call the Uber for him. And, we were talking to him just because that's what we do. And he was just telling us how, I knew by the tone of his voice and just the jargon that he was using and the neighborhood that he was going towards, that he was still doing those kind of things. Like, he was in a gang. This kid was 14 years old. And I thought that was just something of, I don't know, like the early 2000s, but that's still going on. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I grew up with. Just a lot of gangs.
Yeah, it is actually crazy how that's just like, I mean, I grew up in California. I grew up on the good side, but like my dad grew up in like a really bad area. And it's just like, I had the knowledge of what was going on, but not to the full extent of experiencing it. But it is kind of crazy to me how it's just like human beings can literally find hate out of anything. It's turf. Oh, you live on that side? Like, screw you. Like, don't come on my turf. It's like, yo, it's no reason. It's like you even go as far as like some football team. Like, people like hate each other just because they like the Packers and they're a Bears fan or some type of shit. Actually, it's literally like Devin and Ethan is my favorite rivalry, but it's kind of weird. But I mean, so you said that your parents put you kind of in a really, even though you guys were in a tough spot, they did their absolute best. And something that I really like asking people is like, what was the biggest lesson that you got from your parents? Like, what did your parents mold you that, really helped you become kind of who you are today in a positive manner?
Yeah, I mean, other than hard work, because like my dad is, a jack of many trades. He literally does everything. If my car broke down, when my car used to break down, he'd be the guy that I'd just take it to. I'd get a flat tire. I'd get into, a little fender bender. He'd fix everything. So definitely hard work. My mom was always just driving me and my sisters around, from school to practice to friends' houses. And, they just wanted us to have like the full experience, even sometimes against their own will. I'm just like, Mom, I'd be like, Mom, whether you want me to or not, like, I'm going to have like I'm going to be in all these sports. I'm going to be in all these clubs because I just want to do more. So I think I was kind of like my own biggest lesson to my parents, because they would always say like, your kid is going to come out like you, because I was a pain in my parents' butt. I was always like contradicting them, just doing whatever I wanted to do, just like Nancy's world, they're just living in it. So obviously growing up and looking back in hindsight, I'm just like, wow, my parents did so much for me. I wish that I could only be a fraction of the human beings that they are. So obviously I see the hard work that they do. I mean, they've been doing. When I was little, I would only see my dad on the weekends, probably only on Sundays, because obviously I would go to school during the day. He would go to work around 3 p.m., which would be when I was coming home from school, but he would already have gone. And then he would come home around midnight. So it's like, I wouldn't see my dad for like 6 days a week. And to me, that was just like normal. But it didn't occur to me that this man was just kind of slaving away so that he could put his kids through that private school in which that he couldn't see us go through. So yeah, they just taught me a lot of lessons. Obviously now being an adult, I'm super, super grateful for them, but I definitely took a lot of things for granted. Obviously teenage years, it's just what we do, but man, I really do believe that there's a shift going on right now. So there's like this shift of awareness, of consciousness, of just like being more reflective internally. So I hope that not everyone's like that. I hope that people are more just conscientious of the way that they're treating their parents, because now I'm just like, when my mom doesn't text me, I'm just like, Mom, I miss you.
I feel that. I literally was just trying to get a hold of my dad before this before the mindset call, because he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Dad, I miss you. Like, I just want to talk to you." But it is really crazy because it's just like you never really realize the sacrifice of your parents up until you've had to make sacrifices of your own, or you start moving on and becoming more independent. You look back, and I look at all the stuff my parents did, and it brings a tear to my eye because I was such a dick to them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they still love you, and that's the beauty of parents. They always will love you, even though sometimes they may hate you. It's always coming from a place of love because you never truly understand the sacrifices that they gave to you.
Yeah, definitely. And like, yeah, I think that definitely, if you ever want to see me cry, just bring up my parents. So thanks. But they're they were literally like the best example. I think, to answer your previous question, is the reason why I am the way I am, or at least I want to be, I strive to be, is like they're the most giving human beings I know. In fact, they're a little too giving. They get in fights with each other because one gives like more to families and communities more than the other. It's really silly. But in short, because my parents, especially my mom, she's the only, well, she's not the only one, but to her siblings, her family's back in Mexico still. Like they just chose to stay, and my mom chose to come with my dad. So she's always sending things. She's always just like she has a bunch of like godsons over there. So she just sends a bunch of clothes, a bunch of books, anything that she finds over here that she even like thinks of other people, she'll buy it and ship it out to them. Like, these people are super, super generous. I think that's why I'm always just wanting to contribute to people, check in on people, see how they're doing. If someone's feeling sad, like my parents are the first one to be like, what's going on? How can we help? They're the most empathetic human beings that I think I know.
Yeah, that definitely portrays like into you. Like you just saying that, like I can see like I'm like, yep, that's where Nancy gets it from, because I think you kind of like there's always that like one female friend in the friend group that like assumes like the mom role, and I feel like that vibe from you, Nancy. Like you're just always reaching out to people, like making sure they're okay, like always just straight positive energy always, and like just really from your heart into other people. And that's like something I know a lot of people see, and they really admire that. I know that I admire that in you, just like how willing and able you are to just give to other people without any like thought of like getting anything back. And like I love like that was like the mindset call you guys did on the spiritual laws of success, of just like giving out receiving, was like so impactful, because a lot of times when we give, we always, and then you kind of, it's, what is it called? It's called karmic debt, I think it is. Like you like think of it like, oh, now this person owes me something. Like subconsciously you think that in your head, and like just getting rid of that mentality, and just like giving with like without any desire to receive anything in back, but just knowing that you're giving out because it's out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was so sweet. But I do think that, it's just because I feel like a lot of people see that there's a lot of bad in the world, but I think that the universe is just naturally good. Its intrinsic nature is to be good by default. And I mean, human beings are social creatures, and we're supposed to be like raised, it takes a village to raise a child, the saying. So it's like that, why does that stop? That should never stop. We should always be collaborative. Like, this is why the four of us are here right now. This is why we have a group of hundreds of people that are working together, because we work best together,
That's one big
thing.
No doubt.
No.
That's one big thing that like I've attributed to like myself and how I view people. It's like like I don't like I don't judge people even close to how I used to. Like back in high school, like shit, if you didn't look like a person I affiliated myself with, like I'm not talking to you. But like it's just shifted. It's like completely different. Like now I actually like the first thing I think about a person that I talk to is like, wow, you're a genuine person. Like I am actually interested in like meeting you and like learning who you are. Like it's just like the way I view people and like what you guys are talking about, like it's all kindness. Like it's all like you're a great person. I don't even know you. Like let me hear your story.
It is super trippy because once you start identifying your own personal struggles, your own personal flaws, then you start looking at people and you're not judging them in like, oh, look at that, like look at how they're dressed. You're judging them in the sense it's like, I wonder why they are the way. Like I wonder what conditioning triggered this to be like. And I think that that's when a lot of people, it's not gonna say enlightenment because that's such a loaded word, but that's when people start being conscious of the fact that we're all the same species and that we all carry some type of burden or baggage. And it's like it makes life more fun when you get to look at every single human being you interact with and be like, wow, like I really wonder what their life is like in like a not invasive way. Like I always said it, I think it was like junior year in high school and I thought of it, but it was like, you know, you can take anybody's life and just turn it into a movie and it'd be like an award-winning movie because, you know, everybody can relate with that. And the best movies are the movies that you can relate with the most. And it's just, it's dude, once you get more into spirituality, then you just start, shit gets crazy.
It's literally so crazy. Like I remember one time I was like driving in the car with my brother and I was like, isn't it just so crazy how everybody is having like a completely different day? Like everybody is completely living like a completely different day today. And then he was like, think about their life. Everybody is living a completely different life and like everybody is going to do different things and have a different outlook. And just like I was like, I wonder what's going through this person's head right now. Like I just love always thinking about that. Like, what is this person thinking about? Like what's going on in their head? What kind of struggles do they deal with on a daily basis? And it's like it's so crazy because like yet we're all in the same place, we're all in the same area, like we even work the same job or something, but yet our life is completely different, the things we do outside of our, and like it's so crazy how we're all so similar but yet so different. And it's like I can't believe it.
Yeah, I think of that all the time. Like there are over 7 billion people on this earth and everyone has their own story. Like no two people are the same. Even, you know, you could have doppelgangers everywhere, but experiences. The reason why you asked me like what made me is because it's like a puzzle, you know, like different pieces create this masterpiece. And it's like if other things would have happened differently, then there would have been a different outcome. So it's very just interesting. I love learning about people. What makes you you? How did you get here? What are your thoughts? Like, you know, just these deeper conversations. I love it. I'm about it. Thanks, guys.
That's why I love this group. Like we're just all like in tune with that and like understanding that like everybody's gone through completely different lives and had different experiences and that's shaped them into the person that they are. And it's like we just want to get to like actually know the person. It's not like surface level, but like whenever you meet somebody in our community, you just know that you can have that like instant like deeper connection. You're able to get like so much more vulnerable with the person and just like you don't care about like the weather or like the sports games or anything. You're like why are you the way you are? Like it's like so much deeper. And it's so crazy that like other people aren't having these same conversations as much. And it's like I don't know. I love that we are the way that we are, and we're just like able to, that we have this mindset and that we're able to like, now we're going out here and like sharing that with everybody. And like you said, like we all have our different stories. We all have our different functions, our different place, our different we're all a different part of the puzzle, but we come to make something beautiful. And like, that's like my entire why. That's what I was talking about on the call, is like coming together as completely different individuals with completely different ideals and ideas, but yet creating this beautiful image, this beautiful like earth and life and everything that we live today. It's so powerful.
And kind of tying back to, you know, who you are, Nancy. You're an incredibly spiritual person. Like Like I look up to you for a lot of instances because when I think of you, I just think of empowerment. You know, you're the full embodiment of, you know, a female that is really taking on her role as, you know, making an impact regardless of, you know, stupid shit. You're just like, yo, you are powerful. Every single girl that you talk to, like Cheyenne, literally freaking boasts about you all the time, how amazing you are. And I mean, we all agree, but it's like, what I want to know is your spiritual journey. I asked Mike this, Mike and Mike Miles, like, when did you take the red pill and take the journey into spirituality and really start to develop into this, you know, beautiful embodiment of feminine
energy? Thank you again for so many compliments. I think I didn't know I was taking the red pill. First of all, at that time, I didn't even watch The Matrix, which I won't get into. But I think I literally remember the day. I remember making the decision. So I didn't know I was diving into spirituality, but I knew that I wanted better for myself. And it was literally a choice. Like, you are worth more than whatever this is. Like, whatever situation I was in, I don't want this anymore. There's got to be more, and I'm gonna get it. It was kind of like unwavering belief. It was just like, this is a choice. Because I mean, going back to just adversity, everyone has their own stories, right? So I won't get into mine, but I just very, very clearly remember the day where I'm just like, I'm done with whatever the hell that was. And I have absolute no doubt that there's gotta be something better out there for me. And then I think that just put me into like a lot of personal development. I was obsessed with listening to people that also went through their own adversities and that overcame their obstacles. And, you know, because everyone has their different story, like Tom Bilyeu, Lisa Bilyeu, Lisa Nichols. You know, you hear these people speak and you're like, damn, if they can get out of that, I can get out of whatever hell I'm going through.
It kind of blows my mind when I was at work the other day and it was like a conversation between two people trying to figure out who's going through a harder time. It was like a competition. Yo, you take your problems and then go look at other people's and their problems are multiplied by that. And it's just like, you know, it's always crazy. It's like the universe is making you suffer up and like, okay, there's echo going on. The universe is making you suffer up until the point where you realize that you don't deserve that suffering. You know, the suffering, there's some incidences, there's something that happens that forces you to, you know, become what you are. But a lot of stuff, there's causes based off accelerating. I don't know what that is. Are you guys?
Yeah. Let's try to figure that out here quick.
Yeah.
So when you talk, it's coming through on Brady's audio.
Okay.
So Brady, it might be something with you, or like, yeah, it might be just an echo within your, Jesus Christ, it might be just an echo within your place.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, sorry.
That's what I think the thing waking up is, you know, like people who are, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the term woke because I think it's also got carried this like weird negative connotation of just some dude who smokes a lot of weed, or some girl or guy that smokes a lot of weed and thinks that they understand everything. It's like, no. But when you wake up, it's the realization that there's so much more to you and there's so much more to life than what you're putting yourself through. You know, I think that it really comes down to like personal development, and that's why I love like putting shit on my story. I love our community, how it's like we're just putting out personal development because it's like if someone can read one story or get to one post and see like, oh, that made me feel good, I want more of that. Then they start getting more and more into it, and it just starts a whole new world of, it just creates a whole new reality, you know, that. But so I kind of want to ask you a little bit more about living in Colombia, because I know that you lived in Chicago for a while and you're living out there with Mike. What is that energy like? Because we only get to see that on the Telegram and on Instagram and stuff. And, you know, your stories about what do vegans eat, like he's making because I'm just like, that food looks delicious. But like what is that dynamic like, and what was that transition between Chicago being Chicago to Colombia? Yeah. It's like what's the vibe?
Okay, so my favorite part is definitely the weather. You know, obviously you guys are out in Wisconsin, so you feel that cold. I've never been someone to appreciate that. I'm sorry. So, you know, like my whole life, I was just kind of, I don't like Chicago winters. They last way too long and they're only cute for like 2 days. But the energy over here it's different. I love being in nature. So just like waking up and, you know, getting the sun hit my face from the window and then seeing the mountains and just being able to like, you know, breathe some fresh air. That's the shit I love. Like I love that. And I only want to get more of that. And I also like the dynamic between, you know, we're in Medellin, we're in a city, we're downtown. So we get that, and then we have mountains in the background. And I'm just like, this is cool. This is cool. And if we wanted to go into more nature, then we just take like a 30-minute car ride and we're in the mountain. But the people are very, very friendly. I've hopped around a lot of Latin America, like all of Central America almost. And then obviously making my way through South America. So I love this culture. I love when people, like people just want to help people, you know, for the most part. Like everyone's super polite. Everyone says, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You're very, very welcome. You know, it's a pleasure to do this for you. It's a pleasure to drive you around. They're just very expressive in their gratitude. And I'm just like, I'm about this.
Yes. That was literally my favorite part about living in South America. Like just the willingness for people to express their love and their appreciation and their gratitude. Like it's so weird coming back to the United States. Like when you come back, and like people are like going to shake hands and stuff. And like in Brazil, everybody's like hugging and kissing and like, it's just like, it's so much more connectedness. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's like the culture, but like, why are we like that? Like, why are we so closed off like that? And it's just, I don't know. I don't like it. I love so much. Like, that's why I'm so excited to go back to South America and just like be living in that culture of like appreciation and love. And it's literally, it's so amazing. Like you can't describe it, but once you go there, you can just like, you feel it. It's just, the energy is there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for you and I can't wait to visit.
Oh my God, that's gonna be so much fun. That's why it's like I've never been out of the States, which sucks. I want to go to Brazil. I mean, London's gonna be the first time leaving America, but you know, Brazil is like, I think about it a lot because I don't know what to expect, but I do know that like, especially with all of the things that I've heard and you know the deep dive into spirituality and stuff, it's like you go to places like Chicago. Milwaukee's a little nicer because Milwaukee feels more like a small town city type deal, but when I go to Chicago, it seems like a lot of people are just really mad. And I know Laird Hamilton said, like he went to New York, and if you guys know Laird Hamilton, he lives in Hawaii. He's just he's dope. He's just amazing. If you guys don't know Laird Hamilton, look him up. His interview on the Joe Rogan podcast changed my life. But he said, he's like, you know, being in a city, you're on top of each other. And since we are primal at heart, we are, you know, still animals. You know, constantly being on top, like we live in an apartment right now. So there are people directly under me. There's people on, you know, we're on the top, you know, penthouse, but there's people constantly around you. So your fight or flight is still being triggered, but you're just not thinking about it. And considering the fact that a majority of the people that you live in the same city as, they don't even know who you are. So it's still that's why it's kind of harder to talk to people, I feel, in America, because it's like, you don't know who they are and you don't know if they're threat. And you know, obviously I don't have to worry about someone coming up to me with a spear and stabbing me or a saber-toothed tiger jumping out, but it's still that same fight or flight. It's just been slightly reduced because we're a little more comfortable now. But he said that's why being out in nature and, you know, being in, like, he lives in Hawaii, and he says on Hawaii, in the island, there's a connectedness. Everyone is family and everyone knows everyone, because it takes a village to raise someone. So it's like everyone is cooperating and working to make it the best that they can be. When in the city, it's like everything's already here for you. And it's just kind of like existing here and just existing with each other. And I think that's why I'm just looking forward to getting it, because I'm so excited to experience that connectedness that I've always been like, yo, why can't we be like this? like why can't I go casually talk to, I mean, I guess I could, but why can't I go over to the frat house across the street and go hang out with them and, you know, like have dinner with them or some shit? They probably wouldn't like it. But it is very weird, the dynamic. So
I'm excited for you to like experience culture shock.
Oh yeah. I don't know a lick of Portuguese, and I got to get on Brady about, you know, teaching me some, but I'm just excited to be able to learn a different language, because Brady does Portuguese calls every day, and to me it sounds like gibberish. Like I don't understand. I know very little bit about amount of Spanish, so sometimes I understand it. That's a little easier for me. But when Brady speaks Portuguese, it's so like all of us that are there with him, we all just are like, yo, it sounds like straight gibberish. Like I have no idea what he's saying. But I do kind of want to get back to like, so you're a savage trader. You're a freaking beast. Like you live with Mike, but you also have a similar but different trading style than him. And I kind of want to know what was the trials and tribulations through trading, because I mean, grapevine. I don't know who. I think it was either Jordan or Brady, but they brought up the fact that at one point you didn't want to trade, but the only reason you kept trading is because you didn't want to tell Mike. And now like you're doing amazing. So I just kind of want to pick your brain, because trading's a struggle. It's fun as hell, but it's a freaking struggle. I hate oil. U.S. oil is, but I want to kind of see like what were those struggles for you? I mean, you're living out in Colombia. You're living the life. You're doing your thing. So I'd love to hear about that.
I'm definitely grateful that I didn't quit. So I'll put that out there. But yeah, I mean, starting off, I didn't know. I think I was just used to, like, when I first start to do things, I'm usually naturally pretty okay at them, but this is something that I hadn't even heard of before. I just saw Mike doing it. I knew that Jordan was doing it. I'm just like, okay, how hard can it be? They say it's just patterns. But then, Mike went out to Puerto Rico, so I didn't even necessarily have him there physically to help me out. Like, I had the platform. So what I did was I cut down my hours at work. I told myself I'm going to study, and I did. I was studying for 4-6 hours a day. Like, I wouldn't move from the chair. It was unhealthy, honestly. So I told myself, okay, as long as I put the screen in front of me and I press play on Mike Miles and Mike and, the Trade House traders, I'm going to subconsciously collect some information. Like, that's the way that works, right? I was walking myself through it. So I would just have these things playing. Even if I was like cleaning around the kitchen, like whatever I was doing, I was making sure that I was at least wanting or attempting to get the information. But literally for months, guys, it was a struggle. It was really frustrating because my brain just wasn't working that way. It just wasn't picking up, what am I selling? What am I buying? I see these patterns and I think I'm doing it right, but then I hit stop loss all these times, and then it's just like, back then I was doing 0.01, per $100. And then I had like a 60 pip stop loss. Like, that shit's disgusting. And then the thing is that I don't know if I got lucky or what it was, but I seemed to be doing better. I was getting those, it wasn't like the sniper course wasn't even a thing back then. So I was getting these snipes, but I didn't know how I was doing it. So it was kind of even worse off for me because I couldn't duplicate it, and it was frustrating. Collecting like 300, 400 pips on a 0.01, I'm just like, oh, shoot, cool. I got like 30, 40 bucks. And then Mike was like, yo, that's really good. I'm just like, oh, okay, so I could do it again. And I couldn't do it again. So it was just really frustrating. And yeah, so I did want to quit. I'm just like, how am I going to keep doing this? Like, that was just like an obstacle. I was like at mile 25 in the marathon. I'm just like, I got to keep going more than anything because I don't want to have this conversation. Like that's true. How could someone who's dating an educator that educates on the largest financial market and is doing so well, like, how can I not know how to do it at least okay, It was hilarious. But I'm really glad that I didn't stick through it. And that's why I could tell, especially like the women on my team, like, I know that you think this is intimidating. I thought so too. I felt the same way. I understand where you're coming from, but it's super simplified nowadays. Like, you can get this in a few weeks. So I'm so grateful for the sniper course. And I'm so grateful for like the educators that we have, because honestly, if I didn't just keep watching them, imagine if I wanted to watch other educators, I would have been lost. I would have been so lost. But that's why I always tell people, like, if you even think about giving up, talk to me, because you don't want to do that. Like, you really don't. You could be 3 feet from gold, girl. Literally, you could just be sniping gold. And some of my girls are, so that's amazing.
That's exactly how I felt when I got my first trade on gold, and I triple traded it, and I made 60 bucks. I was like, oh! And then, I mean, every kind of struggle. We're working things out. But it is crazy with trading how, like, realistically, when you break it down, it's buying and selling. and noticing patterns. Like as a human being, we notice patterns. Like we just notice patterns. We just pick them up. That's how everything works. And so when you look at trading, when I find myself explaining trading, I'm like, it's very easy. No, it's not at all. like I mean, it is once you get the hang of it, but the getting the hang of it part is always the most difficult. And that's that's why like personal development and all that stuff is so important, because it's just like you have to be able to consistently hit stop loss in order for you to start taking profit. Like there's no way around it. Like it's and I'm learning that, especially right now. I've just been slapping that stop loss like it's nothing. And today was a good day for trading. But it is really insane, just because it's like I remember that internal conversation with myself too. Like I'm living with Brady. He's a Portuguese. He's gonna be a Portuguese educator. He's a killer trader. I'm best friends with Jordan, who's a killer trader. I'm in a group chat with all these people who are incredible traders. I'm like, why am I not taking profit? Like, why am I taking the same trades as these people on the Discord, and they're winning, but I'm losing? And it all comes down to I see the market, and they see the market completely different than I do, which is super insane. But living with Mike, how has that? I mean, this is going to be a pretty obvious question. How much has that helped with trading since moving in compared to just being able to watch him on Go Live every day?
I mean, in terms of, I don't want to say motivation. I don't like that word, but in terms of like, when you don't want to do something, but you know that you should, obviously, like he gets to educate thousands of people. So once I see him, I'm just like, yeah, I should hop on the charts. Like, even though, we have like Medellin as our playground, I'm just kind of like, I have to ask him to hold me accountable more than anything. I'm just like, can you please just make sure that I'm not getting sluggish, I'm not getting lazy, like I don't want to get complacent. That's the thing. Like, okay, making it here was a milestone and that's awesome, but I can't just stay here and be okay with it. Like I have to keep like excelling and just wanting to be better, do better, stuff like that. So in terms of that, like every time I see him, even if I don't have my own computer open, I'm just kind of like peeping what he's peeping. I'm just like, okay, because now it's so easy to like spot these things. I'm just like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brady.
No, I was gonna say it's like just the 4 levels of like understanding, and it's like getting through those and like not getting stuck in between level 2 and 3, like of the conscious incompetence and then the conscious competent, the conscious incompetence and the conscious competence. Everyone gets stuck between those, and it's like once you got to push yourself through that, you got to push yourself through those moments. And like I don't know, for me, just understanding the 4 levels of understanding, once I understood that, I was like, okay, this is just me in this phase, and I just know, like the next phase is there. I just have to keep going through this one until I get to that one. Like it's inevitable. And like, because once you realize you can literally learn anything and everything you want, like you unlock that potential to do anything and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really does kind of like learning trading was when I started to realize like, damn, I can really do anything I want. Like it sounds so cliche. It sounds so freaking cliche. Like you can do anything. Like you literally can. Your brain's just a freaking computer. Like you're just a super advanced robot. And the theories on that, we could dive into that. But it's like you really just need to start doing something and getting that information and processing it enough times to the point where it's like you don't even need to process it, you just do it. And it's like being a computer, it's like, okay, so reading a book, you're downloading that information into your brain, and the more that you program yourself to understand that information, the easier it is going to be to apply it to your life. It's like let's say, I mean, learning how to freaking trade, for me, one of my favorite examples is when I learned how to pogo stick. I did like 2 bounces on it and I slipped off and I hurt myself. And I remember getting Cade, my little brother, made fun of me like a bunch for it. So I remember every single day I'm like, I'm spending an hour. I'm going to learn how to pogo stick. And now I can do it. I mean, I don't know now, but I learned how to do it like without my hands. I was doing tricks. Like I wasn't amazing, but I was like, damn, like look at me. I just learned how to pogo stick. And then like looking back on that, it's like, yo, you randomly just teach yourself to do really incredible things and you don't even think about it. Like everyone has that one thing that they can just effortlessly do, like where they don't even think about it. And I think that that's why, you know, like gratitude is so important, because you can like through gratitude, you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about the things that, you know, you excel at and get better at, because it's like, oh, I'm grateful for, you start off with just random things. And then once you keep like the gratitude flow is what I call it. Like on my way to work, I just start listing all the things I'm grateful for. And eventually I'll just start saying I'm grateful for all these crazy things I hadn't really thought about being grateful for. And then I'm like, cool. Oh, like I should focus on this or that. And it's just, it's super fun just learning a new thing and having to understand. Like that's why personal development is so important, because you're understanding that you're always going to be in a learning process. So there's absolutely no reason to give up, because you know at some point in time you're eventually going to get it to the point where it's going to like help you. And you know that's why trading is so dope, because it's like I'll never be a master trader, so I'll never have a capacity on how much money I can make. It's going to be, you know, based off of how much I, you know, want to keep learning. And that's such a beautiful thing.
I agree. Yeah, even like you said, it sounds so cliche or so cheesy, but you know, talking about Tuesday's mindset call, it's like you literally are pure potentiality. We've literally been programmed like computers. So if you want to go into that, but yeah, it's awesome, and that literally goes back to, you know, when I decided that I just wanted more. It was literally just a decision. Okay, I'm not gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna do something else. I don't even know what. I don't know how I'm gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I know the kind of person that I want to be, the kind of lifestyle that I want to be, and I know that I want to be happy. So this isn't making me happy. You know, toss that out. You know, like what Brady said today. It's not about what I could do more, but what I could like take out of my life.
Yeah, that is
limiting beliefs.
Yeah, Brady, when you said that, that actually really, like you said it earlier when we were coming home from the gym about it, we were having a separate conversation. And I remember sitting there and just being like I got into the house and I sat down, I was like, wait. like it's like, yeah, you can add more to your plate, but you can also take some off your plate so that you're not overfilling yourself. It's like take out all the bad shit, not all the bad shit, because sometimes, you know, some things are a lot harder to take out than others, but you know, things that you just genuinely know you probably shouldn't be doing, you just separate, like take that off your plate. And then it's easier for you to focus on the good things that you're doing, because you don't have all these bad things interfering, taking your vision off of what you should be, you know, focusing on. And damn, I completely forgot what I was about to say.
That's all right,
I
dog.
mean, it's just like the exact concept of like eating and stuff. Like you can just take those Cheetos out of your pantry and throw them away, and you can put like more good things into your pantry, which go into your body, which like you're taking away negative things that you're actually physically putting in your body, and you're putting in more positive things. And you can do the same thing for your brain. You can take away the negative things you're feeding your brain and provide them more positive things that are going to uplift you and put you in a higher state of being. And that's why I think we're all vegetarian on here. Jared, maybe I know you were doing a challenge kind of, maybe, but I showed he didn't. There's a super dank vegan restaurant like a block away from Jared, and he didn't even know it. When we went to Stevens Point, I was like, bro, there's this really good vegan place, we got to go there. And he was like, bro, I didn't even know this was right here. And I was like, come on.
It was quite the experience. I had no fucking idea it was there, and it was delicious as like it was a great meal. Like Brady, you could agree it was great. They had great food.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was great. It was super good.
I think the problem with, you know, people looking at like the vegan vegetarian movement is that they look at it and think, you're telling me I just got to eat freaking carrots and broccoli and apples and only that all the time? Are you kidding me? I'm not giving up my meat. But then you actually have vegan food. I remember when I was in Florida, that was the first time I ate vegan, and I just remember being like, this is pretty good. Like, this isn't that bad. Like, as I got more into it, obviously, you know, being a vegan is everyone's own personal journey. And for me, you know, I find it a struggle sometimes, but I've really been working on, you know, cutting meat out completely. And, you know, I've been doing fairly decent or fairly well.
Hey.
But it is crazy, because it's like once you start realizing that there's so much more to, you know,